have a seat at the table with some men with confidence.
And welcome to Men in Confidence Sharing, where we, the men of a certain age, share our thoughts, ideas, and opinions in confidence. And today, we are joined by all four members of the crew. We have Sean, we have Rhino, we have Terrence. So we're going to say hello to everyone, one by one. Hello, Sean.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Hello, Rhino.
What's good, everybody?
And hello, Terrence.
Salutations, good peoples.
Okay. So we have a topic today. Is it bad to be good? You ever heard the saying, nice guys finish last? Is that true? We're going to dive into that today. And you know what? That's actually a pretty good starting question. Do nice guys or do good people finish last? And I'll pass that to the crew.
Good people are definitely less respected. It's like, for some weird reason, once someone finds out that you're nice, they immediately want to take advantage of you and just bet on the blackness of your niceness. If you understand the reference, I don't play blackjack, but I understand bet on black.
Got it.
But when someone is nice, they won't put up a whole lot of resistance. People are more inclined to sort of abuse that person, if I can use that word. They just want to take advantage of that person. And it's really weird and it's really strange. And even I found myself in a position where I could do that. But I've caught myself and realized, wait a minute, I can't keep using this person all the time. I got to use somebody else. In terms of being an employer, I can't continually depend upon this person. I've got to employ some of these other people who work here too. So I didn't want to take advantage of the nice person. But a lot of nice people find themselves in that position. And then there's weirdos like me that realize that, oh, this person's too nice. What's their deal? I experienced that in my dating life. I met a lady, we clicked and we talked. And then she said, "You're too nice." And that was really all she had to say. As soon as she said that, I knew this wasn't going anywhere. There's no need for me to pursue anything, because either she's going to take advantage of my niceness or she's going to be super paranoid because I'm nice. And she's going to think I'm cheating or think I have some sort of ulterior motives, and I literally don't. Why would I do that? But nice people get taken advantage of. And you should, that's the weird thing, you should be a good person. You should be a nice person. But people are going to take advantage of you. So it's like, if you're going to be nice, if you're going to be a good person, you've got to have your defenses in place. So like, I'm a nice person, but I do own a firearm because I don't trust people. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it on before I say something stupid.
Wow. That's a heck of a segue. I'm a nice guy, but I will shoot you. No.
I do got a weapon.
But okay.
Ain't no killer, but don't push me.
Dang it, man. You just took my line right off the tip of my tongue. I swear that was my Tupac phrase, ready to go. I was holding on to it. But yeah, I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Or at one point in time, my catchphrase was, don't let the shirt and tie fool you. I was it was part of the thing that I had to do for work every day. I had to be in a shirt and tie. And I often felt like sometimes it was a weird kind of double-edged sword thing, because on the one hand, people looked at me like, okay, well, this guy must be about his business because he's dressed nice, he looks the part. But then once you get past that and realize, oh, nah, he's like a really nice guy and easy to talk to, and then that's when the knives start coming out, and you can see people sharpen them, ready to stab you in the back and, like, you know, do you dirty. And it's just, it stinks sometimes when you're genuinely just trying to be a nice person, and then over time that buildup of being nice and having people kind of take advantage, or, you know, do you dirty, or whatever the case may be, then finally at some point, because I think it's human nature that we all have a breaking point, and you have that moment where you explode on somebody, then it's like, whoa, I did not see that coming. And then you get labeled as something completely different, and it's out of character, and, you know, people start worrying about your mental health and all this other stuff. It almost makes it feel like, is being nice really worth it? So that does kind of bring this conversation around to the point of, man, being a nice guy kind of sucks, because it's almost a no-win situation, which is not how I like to think about it, but it sure feels that way sometimes.
Yeah. You know, that statement doesn't come from nowhere. Do nice guys finish last? The fact that nice guys finish last and that statement has been made, it's not a age-old statement for no reason. As somebody who spent a lot of time, like probably most of us, on that nice side for a while, you know, not actually crediting my feelings and valuing my opinions and saying that, you know, not enough to cause turmoil, you know. I tried to do a thing where it was like, hey, nothing's important enough for me to get into an altercation and things like that about it. My feelings aren't important enough to cause ripples in the river and things of that nature. So that's how I kind of looked at it. So I always sat back and, you know, I had to be the nice guy, or chose to be the nice guy. You want to be the nice guy, you know. It's not necessarily just that it's a forced thing. It's a part of, it was a natural part of my personality, still is, to, you know, want to be a nice person. But yes, can it backfire? Yes. Can you definitely possibly get taken advantage of? Yes. You know, there's also something else I want to bring up, which is more to factual, right? Electricity takes the path of least resistance, right? It's the same type of concept with some, you know, people. When you're a nice person, you're the path of least resistance. And so people are going to go through that path. That's the path least likely to cause trouble, least likely to become a problem, least likely or whatever. So, you know, that's the path everybody wants to use, right? That's the path everybody wants to go to, whether they mean you good or they mean you harm. You know, they want the least resistant path. And, you know, you as the nice person, that's the part they're going to go through. And I can definitely vouch for, as far as a relationship, like Rhino was saying, this wasn't a relationship for me. I wasn't in a relationship with this person at all. But she shocked me just in a conversation, listening to me, you know, talk about the things that I had done for my wife and how I had been to her and those things that I was doing, and just snatching it out of the air and giving me a look. And it's like, you okay? You're looking at me funny. No, I'm just thinking, you're a nice guy. You're way too nice for me. I'd run all over you. Gee, thank you? There's no thank you in that. Wait a minute. What are you saying? So you're saying that me being nice would actually have been a detriment to trying to date you. I'm glad I'm not trying to date you. Don't get me wrong. In the back of my head, I'm saying this to myself. But you're admitting to me. You're telling me you would run over me because I was nice. Gee, thank you. Yeah, I really wanted it. It's definitely something a nice guy needed to hear at that particular point in time. And again, not involved with this. I wasn't involved with this young lady at all. But it struck me because it was like, you know what? People do that. They will run over you, you know, when you leave all the guards and gates down and you're trying to be really cool about it. And it's like, I found that I was more floored, I think, to know that she knew it about herself, to say that, like, I know I would take advantage of you. Like, I know that. I know that, you know, I just try to steamroll you if I could from that standpoint. So now I did a lot of research. That caused me to do a lot of research, especially when it came down to relationship sides. And I did figure out that, you know, some of that is all the way back to tribal, well, not even tribal, primal, the way that ladies kind of take that. I think in her case, that same young lady's case I'm talking about, she saw resistance as strength. Remember, we talked about this on one of our previous podcasts, where we were saying that, you know, the misinterpretation of, you know, quiet and nice as not being strong. You see what I'm saying? You know, big, bad, braggy and gruff and telling you what you're going to do and how you're going to do it gets interpreted to be a strong man. And that was basically where she was with that. But I had to do some investigation in that to get to that point. Anyway, I didn't mean to veer off. Yes, you can get taken advantage of. You do wind up feeling like, I'm a nice guy and I get taken advantage of. The only defense, and I heard you guys say you have to have defenses up for it. I'm almost curious as to know what ones they would be as far as later, because for me, they didn't become a defense. They became, like Rhino was saying, you keep pouring something into this cup and you don't know how much it can take. And the more that you pour in, the more can overflow from that standpoint. The more that fits in there, the more the more violent the overflow once it actually gets to that point. So I think I did that. I didn't have a midpoint. I didn't have up any guards. I just went right from, I'm a nice guy, to, okay, maybe I'm not so nice anymore. I'm making the decision to be more like, you know what? Actually, no, I'm going to turn this into a little bit different. That's not to say I'm a mean person now, but I do definitely, when I get into a point where I start feeling my feelings, I start feeling like something is wrong or I'm mad about something, I let it come out. I'm going to let you know. Sometimes I reevaluate that and say, darn, I might have did that a little fast. And I got to worry about whether I'm actually going into work tomorrow. But regardless, it was no midpoint for me. I am curious, and I'll put this down here as I move on to it, to say what, you know, some other defenses for it might be, because I didn't find them.
I won't deny it. I'm a straight rider. But you don't want to with me.
The police messing with.
My God.
There are limits, people. There are limits. Even with the best of us, even with the most moral of us. And one of the things that I think that people don't take into account is when a person that has that fortitude to try to stick to those morals or to that code that they have, what happens to that person when that breaks? I think people need to take that into consideration more, because when that code breaks, that entire person might break. That might be the only thing that they identify themselves with. Some good guys are only good. Like, that's their only character trait, right? Like, they're not a good swimmer, they're not good with money, they're not particularly handsome or tall or in shape or, you know, suave or personable or any of those things, but they're good. And then someone comes along and take advantage of that, and it's like, who am I now? And it'll leave them in a place where and I'm trying to contain this because this can go into a whole nother discussion, right?
I say, I see you pulling your punches. I see you
Right.
pulling them.
Like this is going to a whole nother space. Like this could go into mental health. This can go into school shootings. This can go into the dating world. This can go into so many different things. But
It's a broad subject.
I think as a whole that when it comes to do nice guys finish last? Yeah. It's a simple answer. Yeah, pretty much. And if you've ever lived your life as a straight up and down nice guy, you got the last place trophy on your shelf. You got that 13th place out of 13 competitors. You got that trophy on your shelf with a certificate with no signature on it.
Several of them.
Right.
Several of them.
Because no one thought you were important enough to sign it, you know.
Participant. The participant trophy you get right there.
Like, this is awarded to fill in the blank. Has participated in the race. Your name ain't even on it. But it's true. I think the thing is, so what can we learn from it? What can you, even if you still consider yourself to be a nice guy or a nice person or a good person, you know, this ain't got nothing to do with sexuality or anything. If you consider yourself to be a good person, what can you learn from the losses that you've taken while trying to be this moralistic person? And I would answer that, but I'm actually going to throw that out to everybody. What can you learn from the losses that you've taken while you were trying to be good?
Well, for myself personally, I've learned to be more cautious. And that's in everything. Not just dating, but in my dealings with work. And I've learned to measure my steps, so to speak, not to just throw myself out there in a position where I'm going to be right back where I was and getting beat down, pummeled, because everybody thinks I'm a softie. I've had to learn to be more firm and more clear on what I want and what I will accept and what I won't accept. But I most definitely had to learn to be more cautious because if you don't fight back, they're going to keep attacking you. It's not until you throw that one good right hook and leave a mark that people realize, oh, he did that? Oh man, I need to be careful how I deal with this guy. That's right. You need to be careful. You shouldn't be disrespecting people in the first place. But since you are, let me show you why you shouldn't disrespect me. And I'll pass it on to whoever.
What we learned from the losses. Oh man, that's a good question. I like that question. I had to ponder, like, you know what I mean? Because summing myself up as that guy who I really feel like I don't feel like I did enough midpoint when I jumped the gap. You know, like I was nice. I took it. I snapped. And I jumped the chasm, and now I'm not necessarily, I'm still a nice guy. I'm not saying I'm not, but I swear, you know, of course I did that. Like, I think Terrence brought it up a little bit where he was saying, you know, when you have that break, now they start to wonder, and I've been faced with that. Now, are you okay? Do you need to see someone? You need to go talk to this person or that person? Just no, you just poured too much water into, you had no idea what you were filling up, and now that it's busted, you know what I'm saying? You can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. We're done. You know what I'm saying? But I will say that I did learn. I mean, you still learn a lot. You know, when you sit back, I kind of learned that no matter how nice you are, and being nice from that standpoint, just it won't make a difference to you being assertive, people like that. It causes you to examine, like, why are you nice? Like, once you get taken advantage of a couple of times, a few times, however many times it takes you, you start to look at, okay, I got taken advantage of. How did I feel about that? That didn't feel good. And so why am I being the way I'm being about this, right? And, you know, we have all kinds of, you come up with all kinds of different reasons and things of that nature, but it does cause you to examine it. Like I was forced to examine, why am I being nice and this and that, and not wanting to ruffle feathers, not wanting to piss people off, not wanting to hold my opinions in value, or what I wanted in value enough against someone else's. And that was one of my big problems, you know what I'm saying? And it took the losses for me to evaluate that, okay, this is why I hold so on and fight so to be so nice, is I'm worried about how my thoughts and opinions are going to affect this other person, and they, you know, I don't want them to be, my opinions to be so important, or important enough to me to, like I said, like I was saying from before, to ripple the waters. So taking the losses made me realize that, you know what, I'm taking losses anyway, it doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? I might as well, when I hit these points where I want to discuss it, you know, that's just it. And like when you guys were saying, when you get to that point where it's like, okay, don't let the suit fool you, when you get to that point where you're like, hey, I'm going to give you this right cross, man, that felt good. You talk about something that felt good. That first right cross that came off, it was like, that was so liberating. It's like, and you mean I don't have to be a nice guy all the time? Yeah, people, they were shocked, but at the same time, I felt respected. And so again, not went through those losses, I probably would have never got to that as well.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and approach this non-violently, but
we've got gun and right cross so far.
exactly, you know. First thing that came to my mind as Sean was talking, well, I won't say first thing came to my mind, but as Sean was talking, something that came to my mind was, no is not a bad word. That's something that I learned. Sometimes, because as a nice guy, you know, part of that is sometimes wrapped up in being a people pleaser and wanting to make sure everybody's happy and everybody gets along and everything's okay. No. Sometimes no just has to be the answer. For my sanity, your safety, my sanity, my safety, whatever. Sometimes no is just the right answer. You just got to do it, because you lose parts of yourself in trying to make sure that everybody and everything is good. Another thing that I took from that and have come to appreciate was just the good knowledge of who I am, what is okay, what's not okay, what I can accept, what I won't accept, what's absolutely flat out non-negotiable, and what's whatever, let that go, that don't bother me, let it roll off my back, you know, in one ear out the other. And it helped me to kind of start looking at things like, in the grand scheme of things, is this going to really impact what's important to me? Does this change how I make my money? Does this have an adverse effect on the people under my care or responsibility? Is this really going to be detrimental somehow? No? Okay, well, moving on. And really being able to feel comfortable in that, because once I got to a place where I was comfortable in my own skin and being able to embrace I am who I am and not feel bad about it, made everything else so much easier. And it also makes saying no easier.
Appreciate it. So one of the things that I think about when it comes to this whole nice guy thing is that a lot of it is the nice guy doing a little bit of BSing. Whereas
okay, all right.
Whereas your niceness isn't sincere, and you're being nice trying to gain something. Like, it's not being good for goodness sake. You're being good because you're trying to gain approval or less scrutiny or something else. You know, you're trying to get something. And I think this comes up a lot in dating.
Is it written across my forehead? I
What?
kept thinking as you were talking, you trying to get the draws down.
Like,
Yeah.
if I
I've
be
seen his
nice
face.
enough,
I've seen that. I've seen that.
maybe I can nice my way in, you know? And I think, matter of fact, since you chimed in, Terrence, like, you introduced me to a book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, that talked about this, talked about invisible
Right.
contracts,
Right.
where you being nice to someone, or you trying to be nice to someone, you're not doing it for goodness sake. You're doing it because you're trying to get them into an unspoken contract that basically says, if I'm nice to you for this amount of time, for this amount of occurrences, that you owe me something. And whatever that something may be, I'm trying to keep it PG.
I hear you. Trying is the operative.
Trying hard to keep it PG.
My bad. My bad.
It's all good. But, you know, you put someone in a contract without their approval, and when you don't get what you want, then it's all of a sudden their fault because they didn't honor the contract that they didn't even know that they were in, you know? Now, what have I learned? I've learned that it comes a point in time where you have to ask what your motivations are for you doing something. And I'm at the point now where if and when I am trying to be good or nice, it is strictly because that is what I am trying to do. I'm not looking for any reward or recompense or repayment for it. It is honest. And if it ain't honest, then I ain't gonna do it. Going back to that, no is not a bad word. Matter of fact, all versions of no are good words. Yeah and yeah, nah son, all of that. All of that's good.
Nine.
Yes.
All of those are good words. I don't remember. Did Ronald go?
Ronald went first.
Ronald went first. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was throwing right crosses.
Yeah, I just want to make
And
sure
had
we
the
weren't
gun.
leaving anybody else out.
Well, I do want to add this. Yes, I talk about throwing the right cross and being a gun owner, but hopefully those of you out there that are listening, you understand that this is layered. You can. I'm not necessarily talking about violence per se, or I kind of am, but also there's situations where you respond to the situation in a way that lets people know that, no, I'm not to be tread upon. So your boss comes and say, no, you're working Friday. You're like, no, I'm not. I'm not on the schedule for Friday. Or you let me rephrase that. Your boss comes and say, yeah, I want you to take on this particular responsibility. You can say, no, I'm not. Are you going to pay me more to do that? Okay, am I going to be compensated for my time? Okay, well, if I'm not being compensated, I'm not taking on any additional work other than what I am required to do. That is standing up for yourself. That is not letting yourself be just tread upon. I heard years ago McDonald's used to do this thing where they'll make you get off the clock because they don't want to pay you anymore. Oh yeah, on your way out the door, go ahead and take that trash out and throw it in the dumpster. No, that's free labor. I'll do that if I stay on the clock, and then I'll come and clock out and then go. But once I'm off the clock, working is illegal. You cannot force me to do that. I'm not doing that. That is being aggressive. And sure, you'll upset people doing that, but sometimes you gotta let people know, yeah, no, you're not gonna just do that to me. I've heard stories, man, and I'm talking about from people personally having to tell someone, no, you're not gonna do this to me. You're not gonna do this to me. You can't do this to me. I'm not gonna accept that. All right. So the answer is no. There's lots of no's, and that's just one of them. But just be aware. I'm not trying to get over put out there that you should be shooting at people. But then again, if someone is trying to take your life, don't hesitate to defend yourself. You know, don't hesitate to do what it takes to protect yourself. But understand that there's layers to this thing. That's all I just want to let you guys know.
You could, Rhino. He's double backing, man. We knew that some of the gun was metaphorical. We was just ripping at you, man.
Right, but you know what? There may be somebody out there who didn't get that. You know, I just want them to know that no, I'm not talking about just being violent and attacking people. I'm talking about just standing up for yourself.
No, I get that.
As the case or the situation, you know, may be.
I get that.
All right, Terrence, so you look like you got a little something.
I was just gonna say I appreciate the clarification, number one, with regards to you know, the violence and shooting people. Yes, it was said in jest, but you know, self-defense is self-defense. I did hear something else though, and what Rhonda was saying that was interesting, and it got me to thinking about being nice with regards to just being nice because it's a genuine thing to do, you know, and not doing it because you're putting on or pretending to be. Yeah. Because I feel like if that's not authentic to who you are, that can come across in connection with those invisible contracts that Tony was talking about as a manipulative or deceitful and harmful thing. So I want to be sure that we express that idea as well, to be your authentic self.
As a matter of fact, that, you know what, I was thinking somewhat along the same type of thing, and somewhat along the same things of like double backing and things like that. I talked about, you know, I took my own self-evaluation of myself to say, what was I being nice for? That's what it turned out for me, what my motives and things like that was, what some of them was. Now, all of them wasn't that. Some of it was a genuine niceness. And I don't want, you know, everybody to get the wrong idea that, you know, or think that we're speaking against and saying, hey, don't be nice. Nice guys get tread upon and you're just going to be, you know, but we are talking about like, if you know, if that's your genuine attitude, then absolutely just know that there are people out there that are going to want to take advantage, and you're being nice then for the part of me that's still nice now, that's nice genuinely, that's genuinely wants to hold doors and hold elevators for people and give respect when I first meet someone and all this kind of stuff, and talk to people as people and that, all of that stuff that comes genuinely. All right, for the part of me that does that and that could be taken advantage of for that, I have to just have my own, the one defense of knowing that I'm never wrong, you know, to do a certain base, you know, certain parts of being nice. If it's not in defense of myself, if it's not something that I feel like, you know, I'm doing for the wrong reasons, or I'm misrepresenting myself, or I'm not really feeling that way, from that standpoint, if I'm just being genuinely nice and even somebody just take advantage of me from that standpoint, then it's just one of those, never regret that from the being nice genuinely. You see what I'm saying? Your defense is the fact that it is who you are genuinely, right? Your defense has to be from your own self to say, I'm not going to regret, holding that elevator door for that guy, even though he didn't speak to me when he got on the elevator, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? To some degree, we all go through to some degree of that, speaking to folks who deliberately don't speak back. But I'm not gonna then turn around and not speak, to the next 4 or 5, 6 people, or genuinely speak to anybody else because this didn't speak back to me. In some cases, you know what I mean, you have to do it for your own sake and what's inside you, and say, okay, my defense is I want to be nice. My defense is I don't need you to validate that part of me. You know what I'm saying? That I want to be nice with that. So that would be, one of what I would call one of your defenses for that. Now, in anything else, that's why we talk about the metaphorical or physical or real right crosses and weapons if you need to defend yourself. But other than that, that's where we come from with that. So I wanted to make sure and point out, if you're genuinely nice and a genuinely nice person, and I don't mean to say that I'm not, for the part of me that is, be your authentic self and be proud of that self.
So I just want to add one other thing to keep in mind, that for those of you that are trying to be good or are being good, one of the reasons that may motivate you to doing that is because you may have a low value feeling or a low image of yourself, where you feel that you have to put other people up because you're really beneath them. And the main thing is to know that that's not true, to understand that no one's better than you. No person is above or below you. Someone may have something more than you or have something less than you, but them as a person, they are not valued. Their life is no more valuable than your life. Their presence is no more valuable than your presence. You are both human beings. You both value. So value yourself, and you will tend to put up more boundaries and respect yourself to the point where you won't get walked over. But other than that, I think we've been going a while. Anyone else have anything else they want to add? All right. Well, in that case, I'm about to alley-oop it to Terrence for the closing.
Okay. In that regard, man, I just want to say, this was nice. And it was... I had to do it. Come on.
Yeah, of course.
It was...
Pun intended.
It was absolutely just sitting there for the taking, so you know me. But I wanted to say that, yeah, this was nice. And I love the way Tony ended this with making sure people understand that their value matters and that they have worth, and that knowledge of self-worth can go a long way and help you, if nothing else, be a little bit nicer to yourself, because that's just as important. And I feel like that might have been one of the few things we missed. If there's anything else that we missed, we always want to hear from our listeners, our subscribers, and please feel free to let us know what your thoughts and comments were in regards to this topic. Otherwise, as always, thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe. God bless you. Good night. Deuce.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.